My name is Oizen Callahan. I'm 30. The youngest of three in a family where legacy means leverage, and affection is dispensed like wine, sparingly, and only when it suits the mood. My mother used to say, there are two kinds of Callahans, those who write checks, and those who cash them. I'm the one who delivers packages while the others throw galas. I patch drywall for landlords who will never know my name, while my sister Beatrix poses in penthouses wearing my last name like a brand. I've never been to Europe. I've never taken a vacation. I've never asked for anything. I thought that meant I was safe. It didn't. The Callahan estate in Santa Clarita glowed like a promise as I parked 2 blocks down, grease still under my fingernails from the afternoon shift. Caterers moved like shadows between columns, and floodlights bathed the garden in gold. Every window flickered with warmth I didn't recognize. Inside, crystal clinked. Laughter sparkled. Everyone in navy or pastel. I wore my second-best jeans and a black button-up with a busted collar. A slow hush fell as I entered. Grandfather Red Callahan spotted me first. His face cracked into that tight smile he always wore in holiday photos. He crossed the room, fast for 84. One hand on my shoulder. Other on his cane. "You've been enjoying that $9,000 a month, right?" he said, loud enough to draw every eye in the room. I blinked. "What?" "Your stipend," he said. "Since January 2019. $9,000. Every month. You kids earned a soft runway." A fork clattered to the floor. I didn't look to see who dropped it. I was too busy trying to remember how to breathe. My mother, Thatcher, turned away from the appetizer tray with that tight frown that usually meant I'd missed a cue. Beatrix let out a soft hum, slid up next to Grandpa like a favored nurse. "You know how Oz is," she said gently. "He never liked accepting help." I laughed. It came out cracked. I like help just fine. I've just never seen it. A breath caught somewhere. Grandpa's hand tightened slightly on my shoulder. "What do you mean?" I pulled out my phone. Hands trembling. Opened my banking app. Then the folder I'd named Breathing, where every dollar had a destination. Rent. Gas. Food. Surprise. Surprise always won. "I work 3 jobs," I said. "I live in a studio above a nail salon. If I've been getting $9,000 a month, someone's been cashing it with a damn good disguise." Beatrix's smile twitched. My mother shot her a look. Grandpa's eyes narrowed as I scrolled. "I only found out about the foundation's email a few weeks ago. Took me hours to access it. All disbursements marked O. Callahan rerouted. Different account." I turned the screen toward him. The masked account number ended in 4873. I knew that number. I'd Zelled it dozens of times over the years. Beatrix's. He stared at the phone like it might catch fire. His brow pinched. His lips pressed thin. Beatrix's voice lifted, soft and quick. It made sense logistically. One household account. Easier for taxes. We weren't trying to. "What household?" I snapped. "I don't live with you." My mother's voice sliced the air. "We are not doing this at dinner." Too late. The room had gone still. Like the moment before a storm breaks. I set down the casserole dish I'd barely afforded. My hands were shaking now. "I want to see the routing forms," I said. Grandpa didn't answer. Then my phone buzzed. 9:14 p.m. Unknown number. Los Angeles area code. I almost ignored it. "Mr. Callahan," a woman's voice. "This is Elise from Franklin Trust. We're confirming a beneficiary change request and a wire transfer set for execution tonight. Do you approve?" Silence crashed into my chest like a car. "Tell me the name on the request." She hesitated. "It's not you," she said. I looked across the table. Beatrix was cutting a slice of dessert that didn't need cutting. If I never saw a dime, who the hell has been spending my name? The drive home felt like reverse gravity. Windows down, air dead. The streetlights in Santa Clarita blurred into slashes of gold as I turned the corner past the nail salon, the neon open sign flickering like a dying pulse. I parked. Locked the door twice. Climbed the stairs. Inside my studio, the silence was too loud. I dropped my phone on the counter. It buzzed once. No name. Just the same LA area code. I didn't answer. I went straight for my laptop. Battery dead. Charger coiled like a snake behind the sink. I plugged in and waited, bouncing one knee hard enough to shake the table. My email had nothing. My banking app hadn't changed. No miracle deposits. No quiet reversals. I opened the forgotten inbox. My old college email. The one I hadn't touched since I flunked out of intro calculus and walked away. Password reset. Security question: what was your first pet's name? Bentley, I whispered. Not the dog. The rusted out Civic I drove sophomore year. Access granted. The inbox loaded slow. Like it knew. 7 unread emails. All from Franklin Trust. 1 per quarter. Same subject line, quarterly disbursement confirmation, O. Callahan. Every email routed to an address ending in 4873. The same masked digits from earlier. I clicked through. Recipient, Beatrix Callahan. Label, Household Blackwood account. Coordinator, Thatcher Callahan. Status, active. I blinked. Reread. Sat back. You ever feel your name doesn't belong to you? That's what it felt like. Like I was watching someone else live a better version of my life in parallel. There was a PDF attached to the April email. I clicked. And there it was. Authorization form. Signature line, O. Callahan. Date, April 12, 2020. IP address, 192.210.12.66. I hadn't signed that form. I hadn't been in the state on that date. I was still sleeping in my car between shifts at Denny's. The signature looked almost right. Too perfect. Too slow. Like someone had practiced. I copied the IP. Ran it through a quick geolocate search. El Paso, Texas. I had never been to Texas. Someone forged this, I whispered to the screen. And they knew how to make it stick. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Again. I picked up this time. Static. Then a voice. Low. Male. Stop digging. Who is this? Pause. You weren't supposed to see it. Click. I froze. Sweat prickled behind my ears. I moved to the window and peered through the blinds. Across the street, a dark sedan idled under the broken street lamp. Lights off. Engine still running. I pulled back. Closed the blinds. Another buzz. This time, a text. The money's already been moved. Let it go. I dropped the phone like it burned. Back to the laptop. Opened the PDF again. Exported it. Renamed the file, evidence_01.pdf. Next step, screenshot everything. Print what I could. Because if someone went to this much trouble to impersonate me, I needed proof. Not panic. I logged into my online records. Cross-referenced foundation activity with every charge from the Blackwood account. That's when I saw it. June 12, 2021, payment to BBE Holdings LLC, $13,200. Label, marketing expenses. BB. Beatrix Blackwood Enterprises. A name I'd seen before. On her invoices. On her LinkedIn. On her damn tote bag. They weren't just taking my money. They were building a brand with it. I sat still for a moment. Like stillness could stop the room from spinning. My mother once said, stability is a privilege disguised as character. Turns out, mine was just good credit. The printer jammed. Paper halfway out, sputtering. I yanked it free, jammed it back in. And then I heard it. A creak. Not from my floor. From the stairwell. Someone was out there. I crossed to the door, silent. Peered through the peephole. Nothing. But the silence was wrong. Heavy. Intentional. Another buzz. Check your mail. I hesitated. Then opened the door, slow. A small padded envelope sat on the floor. No stamp. No return address. Inside, a flash drive. I plugged it in. One file. No label. Just a timestamp, redacted _9_14 PM.mov. I clicked play. A man's face filled the screen. Blurred. Distorted. Voice filtered like it came from underwater. This isn't about the stipend. It never was. Cut to black. They used my name to unlock the vault. Now I'm the one they're locking out. I didn't sleep. I kept the lights on. Checked the locks 3 times. Watched the hallway through a crack in the blinds. That black sedan didn't move. At 6:15 a.m., it was gone. Cut scene. Red Callahan's study smelled like cedar, leather, and war. Books lined the walls like soldiers. Heavy drapes. Fireplace cold. His cane rested against the desk, polished and deliberate. He didn't look surprised to see me. You drove up this early for coffee? He asked. I dropped the envelope on his desk. Inside, printed emails, the forged authorization, and the flash drive. Red opened it. His fingers trembled, just once. He watched the distorted video in silence. No expression. No questions. You want to tell me who's running the vault under my name? I asked. I gave you control in 2019, he said slowly. It was supposed to help you build something. I built debt. They built companies. He set the flash drive down like it might bite. Looked me dead in the eyes. You think this was your sister? I think you knew someone was lying and didn't stop it. His jaw twitched. There's a thing about old men with power, they think silence is wisdom. But silence only protects the loudest liar. He reached into the drawer. Pulled out the original disbursement clause. I read every word twice. Individual monthly stipend. Subject to named beneficiary. No collective or household routing unless authorized by recipient and grantor. I looked up. So it wasn't supposed to go to Beatrix? No. I breathed once. Then the door opened. Thatcher walked in like she owned the floor. She didn't even look at me. Father, she said. Beatrix is waiting. She brought croissants. You redirected my distribution, I said. Her hand froze midair. That money was for family operations, she said smoothly. We consolidated accounts to streamline logistics. I stood. You falsified a federal authorization form. That's not logistics. That's a felony. You never asked for help, she snapped. You acted like a martyr. So we assumed you were fine. You assumed I'd never check. Beatrix entered then. Sunglasses on. Phone in hand. Lip gloss perfect. Can we not make this theatrical, she said. I already Venmo'd Mom for the groceries. You've been using my name for 5 years. I documented everything, she replied. Flights. Software. Business meals. You documented theft. She dropped the smile. You could have asked for a cut, she said coldly. But you'd rather play victim. No, I said. I'd rather press charges. Cut scene. That night, I met Jude Whitlock. He didn't smile. Didn't offer a drink. Just opened a file folder and said, "These aren't financial mistakes. They're digital footprints." Jude was precise. Sharp. The kind of man who made people sweat in court just by blinking. He showed me the metadata. The IP address from the forged authorization? Not just El Paso. It belonged to a shell company's server, BBE Holdings LLC. Registered in New Mexico. Listed under an anonymous trust managed by Beatrix Callahan, I whispered. And someone else, Jude said, flipping the page. A cosigner. Thatcher Callahan. My mother. I laughed, once. It sounded like a wound opening. You know what family is? I muttered. It's a group project where the quiet one gets blamed when it falls apart. Jude didn't blink. I've filed preliminary claims, he said. Bank fraud. Identity misuse. Misappropriation of disbursements. And if they fight it? We escalate. Cut scene. Dinner again. Same table. Different stakes. Red called it. Said, we need to clear the air. Croissants again. Always props. Beatrix acted bored. Thatcher read from notes. I came with Jude. I brought receipts, I said. Beatrix rolled her eyes. Jesus, Oz. You spent my name. Now you'll answer for it. I slid the folder across the table. Transfer logs. Wire drafts. The LLC charter. Read every page. He was slower now. Careful. Like each line cut a little deeper. I didn't know it went that far, he murmured. You gave them the matches, I said. They lit the fire. Then Rhett's phone buzzed. He put it on speaker. Mr. Callahan, the bank said. We're confirming a pending transfer to O. Callahan Ventures LLC. Amount, $325,000. Beneficiary, authorized via internal coordinator, T. Callahan. Beatrix blinked. Thatcher's throat bobbed. O. Callahan Ventures. A company I'd never heard of. My name. Again. Repackaged. Weaponized. And this time, it wasn't just a mistake. It was a setup. If they forged my name to steal, what else have they signed me up for? The knock came at 3:12 a.m. Not loud. Not urgent. Just enough to say, I know you're awake. I froze in bed. Heart pacing. Breath shallow. The air in my studio felt wrong, like it had been shared. I grabbed the crowbar from beneath my mattress and edged toward the door. No sound. No voice. Just an envelope, slid halfway under the door. Brown. Unmarked. I picked it up like it might explode. Inside, 3 sheets of paper. 1 bank statement. 2 notarized forms. The account name, O. Callahan Ventures LLC. The authorized signer, Thatcher Blackwood. And the kicker, Social Security number, mine. They weren't just routing money through me now. They were building things in my name. Cut scene. Jude looked like he hadn't slept either. His tie was loose, his coffee black. This isn't just family fraud, he said. This is structured identity laundering. Across state lines. That makes it federal. He tapped a line on the printout. Notice this account routing? New Mexico, I said. Registered 3 months ago. Opened through a shell trust. Your name's on the documents, but the email that triggered the EIN registration? He turned the screen. t.callahan@blackwoodholdings.org. I exhaled slow. Does this kind of thing just happen? Jude didn't answer. He didn't need to. Some families hand down heirlooms. Mine hands down paper trails that can get you indicted. The foundation's firewall is cosmetic, he added. You're not the only one they're using. But you're the only one they used this much. Cut scene. I was back at the estate before noon. Rhett was waiting in the garden. No suit today. Just a cardigan. The weight in his eyes had shifted, less grandfather, more CEO staring down a hostile audit. They used my name to open a second company, I told him. His jaw tightened. How much moved? Over 1.2 million. Since June. He didn't blink. That's embezzlement. I nodded. And it happened under your nose. Beatrix appeared behind us like fog. No footsteps. No hello. You don't understand the ecosystem, she said, voice light. Capital needs movement. We gave it flow. You gave it fake signatures. Same thing if no one notices. I turned to her. You committed wire fraud. She leaned in. Smiled like we were sharing a joke. Only if you tell. Cut scene. Back at the studio, my locks felt too thin. I replaced them. Bought a chain. Moved the couch against the door. Then the text came. Unknown sender. You're in over your head, Oz. Stop before you drown everyone. Attached, an image. A freeze frame of me holding the envelope that morning. Taken from the stairwell. I bolted to the window. Dark sedan. Back again. Different plates. Always watching. Always waiting. I backed away, breath short. If you keep saying it's not personal, I muttered, you're either a liar or a coward. Because this was personal now. And they knew it. Cut scene. Ember arrived without knocking. Just appeared in my doorway, hoodie up, laptop under arm. I traced the metadata from the flash drive video, she said. It was sent from a temp server. Where? She pulled up a map. Zoomed in. East LA, Industrial District. And guess who leases the IP block? She clicked. Blackwood Strategic Holdings. Subsidiary of the foundation. Overseen by Thatcher, I said. And the head of operations there, she added. Used to be your grandfather's personal assistant. She signed your power of attorney 4 months ago. I blinked. Wait, what? She has signing rights, Oz. On everything the foundation holds under your name. I sat down fast. The air was wrong again. Like gravity had shifted sideways. They forged a POA? Looks real. Notarized in San Diego. You'd have to prove you weren't present. I stared at her. I wasn't even in the state. Then we fight. Her voice was calm. Dead calm. Like a storm that had made peace with destruction. Cut scene. That night, another email. No subject. No sender. Just an attached audio file. I played it. A familiar voice. Rhett's. If this reaches you, I'm either dead, or worse, compromised. Static. Trust no one inside the family office. Not even me. They've buried the truth under my name. If I don't dig it up fast, I'll be the one buried with it. The building looked clean. Too clean. Glass facade. White marble lobby. A logo that said integrity without ever using the word. The Callahan Foundation had always been a monument to selective transparency. You could see in. You just couldn't touch anything. Ember and I slipped through during a donor luncheon. Public event. Ballroom upstairs. Press badges everywhere. Noise as camouflage. Distraction before reveal. I wore a borrowed blazer. Ember carried a catering crate. We moved like we belonged there, which is another way of saying no one questioned us. Money teaches people where not to look. Cut scene. Server room. Lower level. Fluorescent lights humming like insects. The air smelled metallic, dry, expensive. Ember plugged in. Fingers fast. Eyes faster. 3 minutes, she said. I stood watch. Camera dome above us. Red light blinking. Watching. Always watching. I thought about something a man once told me on a loading dock. Power isn't loud. It's patient. That's how this place felt. Patient. Found something, Ember said. Archive partition. Restricted access. The screen filled with folders. Dates. Initials. Blackwood Initiative. Inside, ledgers. Shell transfers. Charitable donations routed through subsidiaries, then back into private ventures. Influence purchases. Non-disclosure settlements. Silence, bought in installments. This isn't just theft, I said. It's laundering, Ember replied. Of reputation. Of control. She clicked again. A video file. Timestamped 5 months ago. Play it, I said. She hesitated. Once we do, there's no pretending we didn't see it. Pretending is what got me here. She hit play. Rhett's face filled the screen. Older. Paler. Hospital lighting. His voice was steady, but there was something underneath it, regret, maybe. Or calculation. If you're watching this, he said, then the structure has failed. I felt my pulse in my throat. I built redundancies, he continued. Firewalls made of people. I told myself it was stewardship. That I was protecting the legacy. He paused. Swallowed. I was testing it. Ember looked at me. I didn't blink. If the money moved without scrutiny, Rhett said, then the wrong people were holding the keys. And if my grandson ended up carrying the liability, that meant the rot had reached the bloodline. The video cut. Silence crashed in. So that was it. Not negligence. Not blindness. Design. A line surfaced in my head, something I'd heard once and never shaken. When someone tells you it's for your own good, check who benefits if you don't fight back. Cut scene. Footsteps. Voices. We killed the screen. Yanked the drive. Ember slid it into her sleeve. Security rounded the corner. 2 guards. Smiling. 2 late smiles. Gentlemen, one said. This area is restricted. I stepped forward. Calm. We're with compliance. Routine check. He scanned my badge. Paused. This badge expired, he said. The other guard reached for his radio. Ember dropped the catering crate. Metal trays clattered. Loud. Chaotic. Distraction. We ran. Cut scene. Up the stairs. Ballroom doors ahead. Applause erupting as someone toasted philanthropy upstairs. We burst through the crowd, faces turning, phones lifting. Public space. Safer. For now. Outside, sirens. Not for us. Yet. We didn't stop running until we hit the parking structure. In the car, Ember exhaled hard. You realize what that video means. It means my grandfather lit the fuse and walked away. And you're standing next to the bomb. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. A text. We know you accessed the archive. Your attorney will hear from ours. Another message followed. An email this time. Subject line, notice of intent to subpoena. They weren't hiding anymore. I forwarded it to Jude. He called immediately. They're moving fast, he said, threatening to flip the narrative. If they paint you as the architect, not the victim, it buys them time. Time for what? Cleanup. I stared at the dashboard. My reflection looked unfamiliar. Sharper. Meaner. I have a video, I said. Silence on the line. Is it clean? Jude asked. As clean as a confession can be when it admits to manipulation. That video burns the foundation, he said. It also burns you. If you release it without context, they'll say you were in on it. So I keep quiet? No, he said. You choose your battlefield. I ended the call and leaned back. Another line surfaced, one my mother used to repeat when deals went south. The truth doesn't need volume. It needs timing. The car shook as a vehicle passed too close. I flinched. Ember noticed. They're tightening the circle, she said. Surveillance. Legal pressure. Next comes isolation. They've been isolating me my whole life, I replied. They just didn't expect me to notice. I looked at the drive in Ember's hand. The video inside it. My grandfather's voice. The blueprint of a lie big enough to swallow generations. If I released it, the legacy collapsed. Donations frozen. Investigations opened. Names dragged into daylight. Including mine. If I didn't, they'd finish framing me. Quietly. Legally. Permanently. I closed my eyes. Inheritances aren't always gifts. Sometimes they're tests. If I press play for the world, I burn the whole family legacy to the ground. And I might be standing in the blast radius. The courtroom was silent. Not the kind of silence that comes from respect, but the kind that waits for blood. Spectators filled every row. Reporters hunched forward like vultures in press badges. Cameras blinked red, capturing every breath. Judge Maynard stared down from the bench. To my left, my attorney Jude straightened the folder with the confession video like it was a loaded weapon. To my right, Ember sat stone-faced, her eyes on the opposing counsel like she was memorizing weakness. Red wasn't here. He never would be. The man who orchestrated the trap was already ashes in a private vault somewhere in Wyoming. But his legacy was on trial, and I was the one holding the detonator. Cut scene. The opposing counsel stood. We contest the validity of this so-called confession, she began. Mr. Nolan was a man of influence, but also declining mental faculties. This video is inadmissible without forensic authentication. Authentication is not the issue, Jude countered. Intent is. You'll see that Rhett Nolan's words were clear. Deliberate. He admits to orchestrating a system of financial deception using a charitable foundation as cover, and he names beneficiaries. He clicked play. The lights dimmed. A beat of tension. Then, Rhett's face. The screen flickered once. His voice echoed off the walls. If you're watching this, the structure has failed. It didn't matter how many times I had seen the footage. My stomach still clenched. The truth doesn't always offer relief. Sometimes it's a punch you agree to take for someone else's crime. Red laid it all bare. The shell corporations. The manipulated transfers. The redirected funds, specifically, to Kira Nolan. Over $420,000 in total since 2019. She'd claimed innocence. Claimed she thought it was a family allowance. But the signatures. The emails. The passcodes. They told another story. And then the kicker, Red admitted testing me. Sacrificing me. If the boy burns, he said, then the rot's exposed. Let it burn. Cut scene. Gasps in the courtroom. Kira's face went pale. One juror covered her mouth. Even the judge shifted in his seat. The courtroom wasn't a war zone. It was an excavation. Truth was the dynamite. Cut scene. After court, I stood outside alone. Reporters shouted my name. Cameras flashed. I didn't answer. There are no good sound bites for betrayal. Not when it's generational. Not when it's blood deep. Ember joined me at the car. You did it, she said. I looked at her. Did I? She held out the flash drive. This isn't just about justice. It's about clarity. You were never the problem. You were the evidence. I took the drive and stared at it for a long moment. I spent years wondering why I didn't belong, I said. Turns out, I was never meant to. She nodded. Some families build walls. Some build mirrors. Yours built mazes. I thought of something Red once said when I was a kid, watching him carve a cigar box by hand. Power isn't in who controls the table. It's in who knows when to flip it. Cut scene. Weeks later. Foundation dissolved. Multiple indictments issued. Kira took a plea deal. She blamed the system. Claimed she was a pawn. AMC Holdings went under review. Frozen assets. Public scrutiny. The legacy Red built collapsed under its own weight, like a cathedral made of glass and old lies. As for me, I walked away. No payout. No inheritance. Just a name, clean now, and the quiet kind of power that comes from knowing the truth and still choosing not to use it to destroy everyone. Some endings aren't about revenge. They're about release. I moved out of the city. Started over. Built something real with Ember. No foundations. No bloodline strings. Just bricks. Sweat. Intent. And every morning, I remembered what my grandfather once said in that video, with cold, distant calculation. If the boy burns. But I didn't. I survived. And I built fireproof.